a guru, and he had a few disciples. He was staying in an ashram, and he was a very special guru. He would never preach, but he will ask questions, and through questions he will try to elicit answers and draw reflection from his disciples. So one day he asked this very simple question: when does the night end and the day begin? Can you tell me, when does the night end and day begins? One of the disciples stood up and said, if I can see at a distance a tree, and if I can distinguish whether it is a mango tree or a peepal tree, that is the time the night ends and the day begins. The master was not satisfied, not happy. Another disciple got up and said, if I can see an animal at a distance, if I can make out whether it's a cow or a horse, that must be the time when the night ends and the day begins. The master was not happy again, satisfied. Various people gave different answers, and at the end, the disciple said, Master, you tell us, when does the night end and the day begin? And the master said, the day that you are able to see in a man your own brother, the day that you are able to see in a woman your own sister, that is the day the night ends and the day begins. Beautiful answer. I suppose this clearly indicates that unless we are able to see in our own brother, every person, our brother and sister, it will be always night in our lives. And I suppose when we look at our country today, many times, I have a feeling that we are moving towards more of a night than the day itself. It is becoming more and more darker. The situation becoming even difficult for many, especially the minorities. And the sunshine seems to be distant sometimes. We at St. Joseph's, we have a culture where everyone is taken care of, everyone is looked after, and everyone is considered as equal. My surprise is that when our students are in our campus, they are so wonderful. There appears as if there is no distinction between persons and religions and the caste or creed. Everybody works together, everybody enjoys together, everybody studies together. But to our sadness, sometimes many of our own students, when they go out in the society, they appear to be having that same kind of behavior that they exhibit in the campus. I wonder what happens to them. And we feel so sorry, so sad many times that our own students who were so wonderful in our campus, when they go out, they behave so differently and they're so communal minded sometimes. So many times they involved in violence. Very sorry to hear this. And that the day that we come to know that such students we have educated, we feel very, very sorry that we have educated such students. My dear friends, I suppose there is a difference between religion and the spirituality. Religion is a specific set of organized beliefs and practices, whereas the spirituality is about the soul, the inner self. Being spiritual involves holding one's personal set of beliefs and practices and searching for the purpose of life. That story that I said, as long as we are able to see in our neighbor, our own brothers and sisters, I think we are more of a spiritual person. The moment we bring in religion, even though religion is a set of practices that we have, and probably that divides us more than usual, I wish that most of us move towards a spiritual life or spirituality rather than the religiosity. As I said, in religion, we practice certain beliefs and practices, and we somehow distinguish people from one to the other. But in spirituality, I suppose there is no distinction. And all of us, if we are trying to be spiritual persons rather than a religious person, I suppose it is the best thing that can happen. And spirituality is also a solitary experience, a personal experience of the divine, which religion involves a group of people brought together by their common faith or beliefs about the divine. So the difference between spirituality and religion is spirituality is most of the time it is individualistic, and the religion is more of a group activity. We need the groups, we need the community, but then if the community is not gelling with the ideas that are given by a religion, then I'm sure we are not moving in the proper direction. Religion is a necessity, but whereas spirituality, we can make it our own. As you see the world history, most of our wars, most of our conflicts that have risen are because of the religion. Throughout the history of the world, it is religion is the most important part that has taken the situation in control and then divided the people. So, my dear friends, my message to you is this: become more of a spiritual person rather than becoming a religious person where you practice certain cults, certain kind of practices. Make sure that you become closer to yourself and closer to the peacefulness that is within you. And that will bring you greater satisfaction, not by torturing or killing someone else who do not have your own belief system. That won't give you that satisfaction and happiness. It's only by that spiritual kind of thing that we can make sure that we have our progress. I would like to end by the poem of Rabindranath Tagore, the great man. And he had a dream for India. As our keynote address, Professor Mr. Jati said, we must love our country, not individual people or not a particular group. See that the entire country is developed and moves forward. And as we always know about this poem of Rabindranath Tagore, he says, our country should be where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Mind is without fear. And he also says, where knowledge is free, where words come out from the depth of truth, not telling lies and lies again and again so that the lies becomes truth, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. And he says, into that freedom, my Father, let my country awake. This is the call for all of us, and this seminar has come at a proper time and very, very relevant time, because there is so much of division among people in our country because of religion, majority, minority, all these kinds of things. But let us consider every person as a human being, our own brother, our sister, and then there should be peace throughout. This is my wish and this is my prayer. I would like to congratulate persons who have organized this, Professor Clement, Madam Lata, and the group of